I know you have taken issue with FISA authority in the past. Are you prepared to vote for a short-term extension?
Absolutely. But what I don't understand is why do we have to keep kicking the can down the road? We need to all get in a room and do what we want. I mean, look, all of us want to be able to surveil foreigners. None of us want to surveil Americans. It's pretty simple. So how do we set up the safeguards to do that? Now, we know under Biden, 3 million Americans were surveilled. I've had 3 experiences. After January 6th, I was surveilled. During the Biden years, they stole my tax returns. Booz Allen did, and nothing happened to them. And during the Clinton years, when I went against Hillary here, they targeted my company. So let's fix this. It's not that hard.
Well, Senator, I understand your personal experiences, and we can talk more about them if you want to. But is the issue here really now about reforms to the program, or is it really just that President Trump nominated or tapped someone to be the acting director of national intelligence that no party seemed to have real appetite for?
Well, look, Bill Pulte, I voted for him already for another job. I mean, he'll go do the job. I mean, Democrats aren't going to support anything Trump's doing. I mean, it doesn't matter if he had appointed Mother Teresa, they would have opposed that. So this has nothing to do with Bill Pulte. This has to do with the Democrats want to slow down everything Trump wants done. We need to extend FISA. Let's all agree we need to extend FISA, but there has to be reform to make sure Americans are not surveilled. It's simple as that. And by the way, who's ever gotten held accountable? Nobody. Nobody's ever been held accountable for surveilling Americans, and so it doesn't make you feel good about the process.
Yeah. Well, Senator, we have talked to a number of Republicans who seem uncomfortable with the Pulte appointment, including Congressman McCall, who's pretty close to, obviously, the intelligence community and foreign affairs. He said it's giving a lot of Republicans, and many in his conference, at least in the other chamber, heartburn was the word that he used. What does a home builder know about intelligence? Is experience not important here?
Well, first off, this is a process job to organize information to give it to the president. That's what the job is, right? So, but let's remember, if the issue here is FISA, so let's focus on FISA, get it extended, and make sure they don't surveil Americans. That's what we ought to be talking about, not who got appointed as a director of national intelligence.
Well, as we consider what our intelligence gathering efforts are helping inform, let's get to the conflict in the Middle East. Senator, President Trump suggested that the U.S. will be attacking Iran once again very hard. Is the military course of action the only one ultimately that can lead to a victorious outcome for the United States at this point?
Well, if there's anybody that can get a deal done, it's President Trump. And I know he's tried. He's given them time to come to a table, and they just haven't. So I don't think he has a choice. None of us want Americans to be killed with a nuclear weapon. We know that Iran has been killing Americans for 47 years. We know they want to kill us. We know they want a nuclear weapon. So he basically does not have a choice. If they're not going to negotiate with him, right, he's going to have to use the military to make sure we don't get killed. Like, he's doing the right thing to protect American life. And I wish our prior presidents had done the same thing. Unfortunately, they didn't.
You know, there are many who don't believe we will ever arrive at a deal with Iran, and we couldn't trust a deal to begin with that's put on paper. So when we talk about finishing the job, Senator, what should the president be considering tonight?
Well, I think what he should be considering is how is he going to make sure that never, ever do they have a nuclear weapon. So I think it's going to require...
Does that include seizing Karg Island, for instance, forcing the reopening of the Strait? How tough does the president need to get?
Well, it sure looks like he's going to have to really demolish every opportunity that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has to continue to govern. I mean, they're the ones that are in charge right now, and so he's sort of stuck. He doesn't want Americans killed, so he's going to have to destroy them. I think he's doing the right thing. I don't want my family killed by nuclear weapons, or your family.
Well, so when we consider what it will take to destroy Iran, the president has suggested targeting civilian infrastructure in the past. Senator, should the U.S. draw the line there, knowing that that is seen as an international war crime?
Well, we've got to do, we're in a conflict with somebody who wants to kill Americans. I want the president to do everything under his power to make sure my children and my grandchildren do not get killed by a nuclear weapon. I don't want your children or your grandchildren eventually. So what we've got to do, the president's got to have all the options on the table, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has to know that the president is going to make sure they don't have a nuclear weapon. So whatever that takes, he should do.
We've been having a conversation in Washington that is kind of interesting to see the president get involved in, Senator, and that's the idea of taking stakes in AI companies. He said that he's going to have a meeting at the White House with a dozen or so of the biggest stakeholders in the industry, the executives of the major hyperscalers and other companies that are involved. Is that something, as a former entrepreneur, that you think is a good idea? Would it help to control this emerging technology?
Well, I'd like to hear why he's doing it. I personally never would want government as my economic partner. When I was built my companies, I don't think government's a great partner. So I like to understand why he thinks it's a good idea. We do have to do whatever we can to continue to promote innovation and make sure we beat China on AI. So, and I think we're heading in the right direction. We got great companies.
If you ask Bernie Sanders, it's to spread the wealth, right? He wants the money to go to the people. If you ask Bernie Sanders, it's about spreading the wealth. Is this even the playing field for Americans?
Well, if we look, I'm up here because I want to make sure every American has the same shot a poor kid like me had to live the American dream. I grew up in public housing, got to build companies. So and the way you do that is you give people opportunity. You don't have government make all the rules. You don't run $2 trillion a year deficits. You get rid of inflation. You give opportunity to people, and they'll go thrive under that.
Well, Senator, as we consider people's opportunity and the resources that they're working with, we obviously got a report from Social Security and Medicaid entitlement programs yesterday that look like they could end up having to go dark in just a number of years. 2032 for Social Security. What needs to be done to address that? Well,
let's get to work. I mean, it's pretty simple. We're going to have, I think it's a 24% reduction if we don't do in 2032 in benefits if we don't figure out how to do this. But up here, what do we do? Let's have a committee. It doesn't do anything. Let's have a bill. It doesn't do anything. We got to get everybody on. It's got to be a Republican, Democrat, and everybody sit down at the table and say, look, we want to preserve Social Security. I'm going to bust my butt to preserve Social Security. It's very important to people in my state. Same with Medicare. Medicare is going bankrupt in a few years. The trust fund will. So we've got to show up. But it starts with balance the darn budget. We can't run $2 trillion deficits and think, we're going to have all this extra money to preserve Social Security and Medicare. We won't.